Okay, so this is my What is Huntington's disease video, and this is basically me giving you some facts and information about this disease, and everything that I have written down here in my notes is from the hdsa.org website, which is Huntington's Disease Society of America. So, yep, this is pretty much just facts and stuff of what it is and how it impacts people's lives. And then I'll kind of tell you, I guess I'll tell you how it's changed mine. So, and I'm like going to be honest with everything, like how it affected my life, and yeah, all that. So if anybody watches this, like if anybody in my family watches this and get upset or offended, sorry. I don't mean to like upset or offend anybody, but, and I'm not really worried about like my mom and dad, 'cause I'm pretty sure they won't get upset or offended. So, and that's all that really matters. But, so yeah. Huntington's disease, also known as HD, is an inherited brain disorder that results in progressive loss of both mental and physical abilities. So, I'll give you, I guess it would be two examples. One example with my mom was when I was around 16, 17. She started falling a lot, and it might have been a little bit, it was probably before then, but like we really didn't start noticing it till then. She wouldn't fall and get really hurt, like she would have to go to the doctor. She would just fall and like froze up her knee or something like that. So she would like fall, like going to the bathroom, like she'd slip and fall. And like we put it off, like my dad was an over-the-road truck driver, so it's pretty much just me and her at home. So we kind of like depended on like each other for everything. And that was one thing, like she would start falling a lot. And then the second thing would be around the time I was 17, 18, like her priorities she didn't know how to like prioritize. Like what was more important than this, like to her, I guess she didn't think like bills were more important than going out to eat. Stuff like that. So, those are two examples I can give you from what, like, my mom and, like, our experience and stuff. And symptoms usually appear between ages 30 to 50. And they worsen over a 10 to 25 year period. When my mom got diagnosed, which was about 2 years ago. I want to say it was about 2 years ago. When she finally went and got tested and she got diagnosed and she started seeing doctors and stuff, the doctors believe that she started showing like symptoms and signs, which makes sense, like 10 to 15 years ago. Probably more like 10 years ago. So, and that's scary for me to think because like I was around 12. So, I mean, that's kind of scary for me to think, like, she started showing it then. But, yeah. So, but I don't really think she started showing it then. I think maybe it was a little bit later. So. Go to your room. Go to your room. Okay. So, everyone has the HD gene. It's those individuals that inherit the expansion of the gene who will develop HD and pass it on to each of their children. So pretty much everybody has this gene. It's just like an expansion of it. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Like, I'm, I'm not, like, if you need to know more information, go look at this website, because this website is really, really helpful. And they even have pamphlets and stuff that you can go online and fill out, like your name and address and all that stuff. And they'll send you some pamphlets so you can read up on it and stuff and know how to deal with it. But I would definitely look at this website. As far as cure medications, there's no cure, which sucks. They obviously have medications to help treat symptoms, or help relieve the symptoms. Not really treat, but relieve them. So, and my mom, she's on, I want to say she's on medication for depression. She's on medication for her shakes, and she's on a couple other ones, but I'm not exactly sure. 1 in every 10,000 Americans has HD, and more than 250,000 others are at risk of having inherited it from a parent. Me, I'm at risk. Once a rare disease, HD is now considered one of the more common hereditary diseases. Lovely, isn't it? Over time, HD affects the individual's ability to reason, walk, and speak. This just keeps getting better and better. Symptoms include personality changes, mood swings and depression, forgetfulness and impaired judgment, involuntary movements, slurred speech, and difficulty swallowing. And I think it said approximately 30,000 Americans have HD. And you can be tested for the gene that causes HD. And it can be used to for the diagnosis of HD, but it can also be used as a predictive test before symptoms arise. So for me, it says I don't have any symptoms yet, but one of the bigger things is people with HD, they don't want to have kids because of the possibility of pushing down giving their child this horrible disease, and it's completely understandable. I had my boys are 3 years old, so I had them before she was diagnosed. I knew my grandpa had it, but she had thought she had got the right test and that she didn't have it, so I didn't have to worry about it. But yeah, so I had my kids before I even realized any of this, but now me and my husband still want one more. So we're actually in the process of still deciding what I want to do, if I want to get tested, or if we just want to see what happens, what God has in his plans for us, that kind of thing. So we're still in the process of deciding whether or not for me to get tested. But it's not the same for everybody. Some people are where they want to just get, they want to have kids and they don't want to get tested, which is fine. Everybody has the right to make their own decision. And some people are, they want to know. They want to, they don't want to pass this thing down to their kids, and which is also understandable because it is horrible. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of whatever your preference is, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you can live with, whatever you can deal with. Would I go get tested if I wasn't in a good state of mind? No, I would not recommend getting tested. If you're already upset because your parent has this disease and you're depressed and upset about that, I would not. I wouldn't. I'm not saying for you not to, but I wouldn't, because I can only imagine if I go in there already depressed and then I go in there and I get a negative test result, or a positive test result, that's just gonna make it worse. I'm gonna be oh great. I mean, it would just make it worse, I would assume. But like I said, everybody's different. So but yeah. So every child, every parent with HD has a 50-50 chance of inheriting the expanded gene that causes the disease. If the child has not inherited the expanded gene, he or she will never develop the disease and can't pass it down or on to their children. So that's the good news. And you don't inherit this gene, which like I said before, you can go get tested for it. If you don't inherit it, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to, like, I mean, besides from, like, taking care of your parent or being there for your parent. But, I mean, that's it. And if I want to tell you, like, if you get tested for this, if you come out and you don't have it, I'm so happy for you. I'll cry for you, because that is just, like, the best thing I could ever think of. Like, I want to get tested because I want to know, and then I want to have a kid, but I don't want to have to, like, I feel horrible. I feel like, so, and I'll only hope, like, I can only hope and pray that this disease will stop, with my mom, but it's whatever God has in store. So, but, yeah, so hopefully when I get tested, I will have a negative, I won't be positive, negative. So, and if I do go get tested, I will be sure to vlog my whole experience. So, but yeah. So, in the early stages, you see subtle changes in the mood, movement, and cognition. A person with HD may still be able to drive and hold down their job, but might require a little extra help throughout the process. Mid-stage, they'll lose the ability to work, drive, and need help performing activities of daily living. Movement disorder will lead to difficulties with balance, swallowing, and voluntary motor tasks. Individuals will have increased difficulty organizing and prioritizing information. Behavioral symptoms will affect everyone differently, but irritability, aggression, depression at this stage can lead to personal and family issues, as well as involvement by law enforcement. And when it says that, I think, I'm not going to say this is what it means, but I think what this means is, like, involvement by law enforcement, because they get angry. My mom, that I haven't seen, she hasn't got angry to the point where she's throwing stuff and she's hitting, like, my dad or my aunt, or I call her Nanny, but she's my grandma on my dad's side. Those are normally the ones, because I live so far down here, those are normally the ones to take care. My dad is the main one, but my aunt and my nanny, like, help when they can, and as often as they can. So thank you, Jesus, for them. But that she hasn't gotten angry to the point of where she's throwing stuff at them or hitting them or stuff like that. So it hadn't been that bad, but it can get to that point. It can get to that point where they get angry, they start throwing stuff, or they start hitting people, or they just get angry. So, and at that time, like, obviously, if you can't calm them down and you can't control them, like, what else is there to do? So, and I think where a lot of people go wrong is when law enforcement arrives, they just take it as, like, a domestic situation, which is fine, like, that's normal. But I feel like those are some of the people that probably need to be informed the most. Like, the law enforcement, you know, any, like, the ambulance people, like, those are the people that come in and they assist, you know, they assess the situation, and they, you know, I feel like they need to realize, like, what this is, you know, what the signs are of it and stuff like that. They need to, like, see.
Okay, what?
None.
What?
None.
Okay.
Sorry. But, yeah. So, and I had, for me, this was the hardest thing for me to cope with my mom. Because I had to go from telling my mom, like, every single detail of my life to telling her, like, little pieces. And it was mainly, like, the positive pieces. Like,
Three.
no, none. Like if me and, just for an example, me and my husband would argue, I couldn't tell her that because that would upset her, and she wouldn't like let me tell the whole story, or so it would just be like it would just turn out bad. So it's just stuff like that. Now, like when my kids get sick and stuff like that, I can obviously like tell her like, hey, look, he's got such and such, and he's been throwing up, or stuff like that, like, obviously. But bigger stuff, not so much. And it was hard for me to adjust to that. Like, it was really hard going from being able to tell her everything to not barely anything. That was extremely hard. And I didn't handle it the best way. I was not the best daughter there for a while. But a late stage may lose ability to speak and respond, but is still able to comprehend what is happening around them. I would have to say that's the hardest part of this disease, because they can't talk, they can't respond, but they know like they comprehend like what's going on, like what's happening. You know what I mean? So that's probably the toughest part. But and if anybody is curious, I would have to say my mom is in the middle stage, because it's hard for her. Like, this balance is horrible. Swallowing some days is bad. And her slurs, like, she slurs some days. Not all days, but some days it's hard to understand her. What else? During the late stage, many people enter into a long-term care facility. So, okay, this last page. Now, if you carry this gene, this disease or whatever, and you pass it down to your child, there is juvenile HD. It just keeps getting better, I know. Fewer than 10% of individuals with HD develop symptoms before age 20. But it's a possibility. Like, there are kids out there with, like, juvenile HD. And it's horrible. Like, it's so horrible. And I just hope and pray to God. Like, first of all, I hope and pray to God I don't have it. Secondly, I hope and pray to God if I do have it, my kids don't have it. So, and if they do have it, I just hope and pray that it won't hit them till they're older. But typical initial symptoms of juvenile HD: a positive family history of HD, stiffness of the legs, clumsiness of the arms and legs, decline in cognitive function, changes in behavior, seizures, changes in oral motor function, and behavioral disturbances.
We'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah. So that's some of the facts and stuff. Like I said, if you want to know more about this disease, you can go to hcsa.org, and there's a bukus of information on there. And there's all kinds of things that you can do. You can donate money. They have I think it's like a Team Hope walk or something like that. So you can do that. Go. I'm in the process of trying to get something set up to where I can do like a fundraiser or something down here in Mississippi, because there's not a lot. But yeah. So I guess that's it. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. If not, I guess I will talk to you guys later. Bye.